Welcome back to a brand new episode of Bloore and Mandalore. I'm your host, Jeremy Bloore, and today I want to talk about the latest episode of Skeleton Crew, episode 8, the season finale. Look, I'm not going to say series finale because I actually think there will be a second season. There cannot be nothing after this. I mean, in a way, we were kind of left with a lot more questions than we were answers, and if it does lead towards anything, it's a season 2. If it didn't lead to that, then I would probably say this episode would probably give me around like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. It would be a lot higher if there was this episode, well, a season 2. But I feel like in this one, it was gearing so much towards there being something else, giving us something more, like the next story that was going to come out. I felt like even in that last 10 minutes, there was so much left to do. It's like, what's going to happen to Jod? Where are the kids going to go? What's going to happen to Atten now? Those kind of questions are the ones that they need to leave unanswered if there was going to be that next season, which I did look on Disney Plus and it did say season finale, not series, which is a big thing. When Kenobi first came out, it was like series finale. Like, this is a one and done. We've told our story. You've wanted to see the gap in between the time that we saw Revenge of the Sith and also A New Hope, and we're kind of now filling in those spaces. It didn't go too well. They didn't want to renew it, but, you know, I could understand why they didn't want to continue this one. One thing I've got to say with Skeleton Crew is, I mean, not only is it one of my favorite shows, really, genuinely, I mean, like, it's done so well to kind of sediment itself in the new Star Wars ethos, you know? Like, Disney has actually done well with this one, mainly because they've taken their fucking time for once. Genuinely taken their time. I mean, one of the biggest parts of this has just been the length of editing process. Like, they've actually had time to think about things, write it out well, edit it so that these things in the writing actually work well together. But beyond that, I think, look, this show has proven to us that we can have something in the Star Wars ethos that doesn't necessarily have to include the Skywalker saga main characters, the big hitters, the heavy hitters of every single time that we see in every show. It was something that I thought The Mandalorian was going to do, but I've just season 1, I was like, dude, no way. Like, this is, I mean, it was exactly the show that I wanted to see. Yeah, okay, I wonder why. It's my favorite show. I'm literally obsessed. Like, if you look here, I've got the Mando. If you look down here, I've got the N1 Naboo Starfighter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually obsessed. I'm obsessed with Mando. And it was, look, not only was it something that I wanted to see visually, but it's something that I wanted to see actually as a show. Mainly because, guys, like, we need to see more Star Wars that isn't Jedi, that isn't, you know, the villains, the Jedi, the Sith, the big guys, the big heavy hitters. It's kind of like when you look at Battlefront 2, right? This is the EA Battlefront, the one that they fucked up for so fucking long, and then later on they fixed it and then just dropped it. Stupidity. Don't even get me started on that one. Genuinely don't get me started. Basically, what they did with that was they kind of separated it into different points, right? So you had the Jedi, or you had the main heroes, and then you had the blasters, and then you had the droids and so on. I would love to kind of see that secondary character of Blaster. I think it's such a cool genre to go into. People that literally have to fight people with magical powers, and in order to succeed, they just genuinely have to be better. That was the one thing that Mando did so well. That's the one thing that I think these kids do so well. I was really confused. We were kind of leaning towards there being a Force user other than Jod, you know, Wim, obviously, which I will get into, but I just, you know, I love that it broke our expectations. It was something that we didn't see every day. We don't get to see kids learning about Star Wars just at the same time as we are. I mean, we were finally seeing good people be good people and bad people be bad people, as I was saying before. So, without further ado, let's get into the breakdown. Look, what I've done here is I've separated everything into multiple different scenes, and I kind of want to try something new. If you guys are fans of my previous videos, then you probably see that I'd sit here and I'd talk about everything non-stop. I'd just break it down without even a single break. But I think I kind of want to do something a little bit different for my breakdowns now. I want to, like, at the end of every video, I always think to myself, I'm like, I forgot to talk about this. I forgot to talk about that. So I'm going to try something new. So bear with me. This is going to be a whole editing process. But let's start off with literally the start of the video. Of course, I'm not going to do that whole part 1, part 2 thing because we're at the season finale. We don't need to do any of that. I think a lot of the characters here were blended in together in every scene. It wasn't necessarily like as separate as it was in the previous episodes of like kids, Jod, and the parents, you know. One thing that I really, really liked is that we started off at the very, very start. Like, I mean, well, the way we ended on the previous episode, we actually get to start now, which I really enjoy. I really, really enjoy. I think it was one thing that we got to see, you know, all of these kids lead up to this tense moment. And then if it kind of dropped off and then just left it kind of, you know, oh, well, I guess we're all back at home, like a scene later, I kind of would have been a little bit depressed. We needed that time to show that Jod is pretending to be a good guy. I don't like how the kids didn't speak up. I understand why their parents are involved, the whole, like the droids, the everything that they've known, the whole amount of authority that they've ever seen in their life is right there in front of them. And then this guy who's bad, who has seemingly within an instant tricked these people into thinking that he's good, which we will get into later. We know obviously that he's impersonating, but that was one part there that I was just kind of like, man, I don't know about the kids not speaking up. I feel like if they did, it could have led them down pretty much the exact same path. It just could have been a little bit different. But I respect, I think that was one of my main points that actually brought it down for me. A lot of it. Like, by the way, I'm looking into this with, you know, I guess I really do have to kind of hyper analyze everything if I'm going to be doing a YouTube video on it. So that's literally only because I'm hyper analyzing this whole show. Other than that, I think it's awesome. Fern and Jod go see the supervisor as well. And look, I like that. I like that they're separating. It's kind of like a parlay. The way I saw it was Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously because they're hinting at every single pirate show in like that's ever existed, pirate movie as well. Like everything pirate we've seen here in this show. And it was kind of like, parlay, let me talk to your captain. They go up to talk to the supervisor with Fern. Another thing that I really, really liked was that they started off showing Wim when he was really bland in his life. Like his regular life that we get to see is super, super bland and boring. He had all of the microwave food and then his dad sitting there with a security droid, which I think is so beautiful of that design. Like to actually resonate with us like that, to show the security droid kind of staring down going, kind of like a tennis match, you know, and the dad, it was just boring. You could hear the crickets in the background. It was miserable, genuinely miserable. And it was something that I could see, this is exactly why Wim did not want to go home. We got to see kind of like every part of Wim's, or like his whole anxiety through the whole season, genuinely, like the whole season. It's come true. I mean, everything that he didn't want was there. So, you know, I enjoy that because it means that we can get to the highs of the end of the episode. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that we get to see, you know, Wim being that guy that he didn't want to be. So cut to Fern and Jod at the supervisor's office. I really liked that the supervisor's office was dirty and dusty, and it was actually nothing like at Akron. When we went on a previous episode, I think it was like episode 5 or something like that, we got to see at Akron, and there was the big supervisor's office, and it was, you know, you look up and it was just this whole, it wasn't, there was no technology really. I mean, there was technology on kind of like the sides, but nothing like Akron. So it's like at Akron was very much, I think what they were trying to show was the fall of all of them was the greed of others, right? There was no supervisor who was a droid, which, I mean, legitimately, there is something to say about a droid running it. There is no bias. There is no bullshit. There was just, this is how it's going to run and this is how it's going to be. And everyone's going to fall in line and everyone's going to have their life. It's kind of dictated in the terms. The supervisor has to follow it, but you know, so I don't know, obviously, if at Akron or any of the other ats, they were going to have, you know, a droid supervisor. But I think that is genuinely the reason for the success. I mean, the droid just did not take no for an answer. It was bullshit. It saw through a lot of the lies. You can't be manipulated the same way. I enjoy it. It did leave it up to kind of that little bit of a bullshit turn later on, which was, you know, something that I don't know. I didn't really like. I didn't really like that he could just kill. He could kill the supervisor that quickly. But one big thing that I really enjoyed was that it wasn't tack rented. I talked about this before about being tack rented and how I wanted him to be the supervisor and everything. But I kind of enjoyed it. And when they went through, you could see I think it was probably around tack rented's time. I think there wasn't that much dust and grime built up that it would be hundreds and hundreds of years. But you could easily see that Tack Renard was one of the ones who was there last, but they definitely got him done. Definitely. I mean, I think that he was the reason why all of these droids are on such high alert, why there probably is a droid leader. But when they're pulling up that dust, it was thick and it was crap, but I don't know. I think it was something that was not necessarily remnant of Tack Renard being influenced there. I think what he had was exactly what Beyond the Dune Sea said. It was kind of like it was a mirror to Jod. He came in, he tried to take all of the credits, he tried to maybe show off. That's why maybe he didn't even have the lightsaber actually, because that was up in his thing, and they were like, yeah, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, and then take him down. And and they shoot him down, and they go into the ship, and it was like they try to get out, and then it's just like the barrier goes. They go into the middle of nowhere. Maybe that's why I was cautioned off. Anyways, that's not really the point. The supervisor knew about the Jedi and the Republic, but how? That was one of the when they said, oh, well, the last message that we got was that the Jedi were bad. So that means that they were in contact with the Republic. So was the Republic that they're talking about the Old Republic, the High Republic, or the Grand Republic? Because we know that Palpatine sent out the message at the period of the end of the Grand Republic, and he was acting as obviously he was Chancellor, but he was acting as the Republic at the time. So the message gets out. They get messages. They're not a completely isolated colony. Yes, they are in a lot of ways for the people, but not for the emissaries or not for the deliveries in and out. We're delivering credits to different spots. Who was using at Akron? I think all of this kind of stuff is going to be answered in season 2. If there is a season 2 or even comics or so on, guarantee if there are comics coming out because of this, I will be there. 100% I'll be there. It just really interested me. It was something that I was kind of like, well, what the hell are they going to do? Where are they going to go with this? It's just kind of, we've seen the Republic. We've seen Palpatine's influence. Is Palpatine influencing later? What happens now that the barrier's down? I don't think Palpatine's actually touched this. I think that was kind of one of the most important parts of this, was the conversation of the Palpatine wasn't there. Palpatine is not an influence in this. It was purely just the message had been spread across. They receive messages. They can't give it out. It's cool. I like it. One thing I've got to say, though, dude, come on. You got this supervisor who controls every single part of every energy that's to do with all of At-Atten. I think that's ridiculous. That's genuinely, that wasn't one of the worst things with the show. But it was something that was, for me, I was like, why? Why would you put all of your energy into this? Is there not a backup generator? Is there not a backup droid? The supervisor, you just stab him in the eye and he's done. This whole huge hunking, it looks like the top of an astromech droid. This whole hunking droid that was there was just kind of given up on. You know what I mean? I just think that was kind of stupid. I don't know. Anyway, it's not something that was important, but I move on. I think it was really cool that we got to see the multiple points of contention at this point. It really ramped up that kind of urgency of the needing to succeed. If it's not just Jod kind of being a little bit of a douchebag. Obviously, he was swinging around his lightsaber. He was just being a little bit of a knob jockey. We talked about a knob jockey in the previous one. But, having the barrier nearly being destroyed, when the gear came up, it was like it went to another gear. I don't know if you guys have seen One Piece, but it's kind of he's got gear 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 and then he's got gear 5, I think it is. I think that's his main one. Anyways, doesn't matter. It ramped up a gear. So we've got the barrier being destroyed, the kids trying to save Fern, and then we've also got the pirates coming to destroy At-Atten. Jod obviously wants control, and, it's just... That's what I think. Beyond all of the other pirates, I think that was, that mirror to Tack Renard. That whole Jod wanted to take control of every part of the situation. and, become the leader of the mint, which, I mean, with all the amount of people that were there, he'd be a bit stupid. I mean, a lot of them are just like sedentary pussies. But I don't care. Like, I mean, I think in the end, there's always going to be people to stand up. Wim and all the other kids, I mean, they're prime examples of this. Even their experience that kind of led up into this grand adventure, which I really, really enjoyed, that the Wim's dad was thrust into this adventure. And it kind of reminded me of one of my favorite movies of all time. So The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Now, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, if no one's seen this one, I think it's one of the most beautiful movies. It's something that when I really want to feel something in a movie, I chuck that on. I mean, like, don't talk about when you get high, you sit back, you watch this show, and it's like, oh, wow, I'm having a fucking quarter life. I'm 25 years old this year. I'm having a quarter life crisis. Anyway, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, he's someone who is boring in their office. He's doing nothing. He develops photos for Time magazine. There is the main photographer who does every single one of the covers for the magazine itself. He does it all in film. So he has to Walter, he has to develop the film, and he's got a cool relationship with this photographer. He's the only person who develops it. Obviously, he's got an assistant, but he's really the only person who's trusted with it. They're thrust into a new beginning, a kind of a new era of their company. They're going all digital. They're not going to use the film people. They're going to change up the whole style of everything. And, they've got one grand big magazine that they're going to do that kind of thrusts Walter into this brand new adventure to discover that kind of hidden person, because he would always dream about being that guy, being someone new, that adventurous guy like the photographer who goes and climbs mountains and takes photos of snow leopards and, dances with Bolivian soccer teams and all that kind of, you know what I mean? Like, one of the guys who lives life to the fullest. And I mean, it's a catalyst for my mental instability. But I think the movie was a really, really great mirror to this scene specifically and this character specifically, and I really enjoyed it. It did warm my heart because we get to see Wim's dad talk about it later on. I mean, well, not later on, earlier on, he was talking about like, of course I'd want to go jump out and do this and be on this grand adventure and meet a Jedi. And Wim, has to hold himself back and be like, no, but he's not and I like that he's thrust into the adventure as well. He's forced to take the speeder bike to chase after his kids, and he becomes someone that he wanted to be at the start. The whole thing about what the kids have done is they've broken the barriers for what is normal in Atten. Yes, the barriers are all destroyed, but the barriers internally for them, it's going to become a new culture, something that isn't necessarily run by all of these droids that are so single-minded and single-focused. It's going to be something of multiple perspectives. Hopefully we can see ports, imports, exports, and just, an interaction with the good guys in the galaxy. If that is the Republic or if that's someone like Kim, the owl, who helped later on, I'm just glad that we got to see the dad thrust into this different perspective, because it was one of the characters that really, really shit me, just kind of being that guy who holds back. He's not the same dude who he was at the start, the guy who was really like stopping Wim from every single thing that he wanted to do, any bit of adventure, every part of anything bad that he was going to do, his dad was the one stopping him. So I enjoyed it. Like, one of the things as well with without going over, I moved the whole setup because I'm a fatty. One of the whole things as well, like the pirates having the stormtrooper aim. I got to say, I mean, I just had to very, very briefly. This is not the Leia run scene. When Leia's running through and she's like, dun, 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 she's running through and she's like, maybe I can do the fake running. I can't. I'm sitting down. Leia running through that shit. That was stupid. That was stupid. This was not that. I think the pirates just had stormtrooper aim to let the kids get out. It was not the point. Like, the whole point is not to be taken out by pirates last minute. So I understand. I'm not upset about it. I just think it's kind of funny. It's like in the moment of the highest height, everyone becomes stupid. Now, I understand that legitimately in life, that is a serious thing. Like, adrenaline is a massive factor to losing your cool. Cortisol rises. I'm first aid certified. I am, technically right now, for the next 3-4 months, I am technically a first responder. So I mean, I want to be a firefighter. I want to do all that kind of stuff. So watch this space. But, that is one thing. Like cortisol rises, it stops you from acting in the most proper way, the most, the way that you've been trained the whole time. You lose your cool, everything. It's important. Neil separated from the team. I think this was one of the points that really, really got me as a fan of Neil, but not only a fan of Neil, but a fan of the whole crew. In the previous episode, we kind of got to see them gel as a crew together. I talked about how, they're now going to be a very coordinated team, something that in season 2, they're not going to be used as a task force, no, but they're going to be used for a pilot for adventure. They're going to be able to explore and kind of do new things within the galaxy well as a team. They've got their leaders, they've got their roles, they've got everything, right? Neil got a little bit of a different role in this, but what I thought was really important was every part of everything in this whole season was useful. Neil's time with Henna, she basically taught him about, on top of the school, how there was a big gun, like there was a massive blaster gun or whatever it is. I think it was like a beam gun. Doesn't matter. It really does not matter. I don't know why I'm going into this too specifically. But basically, it was his lessons with Hannah or Henna that was able to get him to the point of like, you know what? I can stand up. Don't worry, guys. I'm actually all good here. I'm going to leave. Like, leave me behind. I'm going to take care of you when you get up there on the ship to send a message. It's that kind of stuff that I really, really, really enjoy. I mean, I don't want to see these kids thrust into an adventure where they're ill-equipped. But this whole season has been equipping them. This has very much been that pilot of like, we're ready to go. We're ready to kick in. So let's kind of like speed up. One little thing that I just want to mention is like Wim, obviously, and his dad being thrust into adventure. I really, really, really love that he had a point that was like, I'm a level 7 system coordinator. Don't worry about me. I'll get this done. Obviously paraphrasing, that's not the exact quote. But the look on Wim's face was like, that's it. And that's what set in my mind that was like, this is the secret life of Walter Mitty. He's become the photographer, because the whole thing in that was literally just like, you go up and he goes up to the top of the mountains and he's like, I've traveled this whole way. And he goes, what an adventure. Oh, I need to go watch that movie again. I need to go watch this movie again. This whole show has been fantastic writing. Every single point of this has reached the pinnacle. The smallest details have become massive in the grand scheme of just this show. But this show is not the massive grand scheme of everything that we were doing before. So, look, I loved it. But one thing that I will say with the writing, and I need to see more of, is I want to see more of Neil's dad. I mean, that dude was a hulking beast. Dude had tusks. He had everything. He was a fucking weapon. And hey, look, mad respect to the dude for being a stay-at-home dad. We need that in today's society. I mean, like, stay-at-home dads are just as important as stay-at-home mums. I mean, my girl's the breadwinner for my family. I don't really have a family right now, but I do have a family, but like, you know what I mean? It's like, we're not together, with kids, we're together. I'm very happy. She's the love of my life. She's going to be with me for the rest of my life. I can promise you that. Anyone who's watching, I'm sorry. She's the love of my life. Actually, I'm not sorry. She is the love of my life. I'm very happy with her. I'll move on from that. But I wish we got to see more. I mean, all of the other parents were so good. I even love that KB's parents were sitting back there being like, when KB went up there and she's like, don't worry, Mum, like all the pirates are coming, but I've got to deal with all this. They were just like, we trust you. Even that moment later when she was going down on the ship, which I know I'm speeding through. I've got to talk about that in a bit. But like, as they were kind of going down and speeding through, it was like, she can fix anything. I love it. I actually love it. Like that whole thing, that's perfect. Give them some love. Give them some trust. Be like KB's parents. Great writing. Love the show. That was one thing that I was like, man, I love that. I really, really love that. So skip forward to much later. Obviously, they skip through on the skip beaters and, that one Katunian raider, or, I mean, I guess he is a Weequay. I don't know if he's a Katunian raider, but, he's the one Weequay who was with the pirate ship with Gory and Shard in Mando Season 3, and he came over and he's like, I'll get you one day, Mando. I'll get you one day, Mando. He died. He died. Fuck you, bro. Mando would fuck you up anyway. I mean, that dude's a menace. He's a menace. Also, you can see it's fucking storming like crazy in Sydney right now. Dude's a menace. Mando would fuck you up, brother. Don't even try. Don't even try. Anyways, they go to the supervisor's office. We get to see all that whole thing with, Fern and her mum making that difference. I love that Fern's mum was kind of listening to her, but she wasn't really. That all happened a lot later. George showed that he didn't want to hurt. I was going to say kill and hurt. He didn't want to kill or hurt these people, like these kids. He didn't want to do it. He's got a good soul in him. He is a Jedi at heart, and I love that. I really, really do love that. But I love that he stayed bad. So one thing is we got to see Wim and his dad kind of stage that little thing. I love that it was, I wrote it down here. I was trying to look here to find it. The crystal of the founders guarded by an ancient warrior way up in the northern mountains. And Fern playing along with that was just sick. I mean, that was something that I always did as a kid. I don't know about you guys. I mean, it's kind of funny when you get older, you realize that everyone's life is literally the exact same, just in different fonts, so it's just, I always did that as a kid. I still do that now. I'm talking to myself and I talk in a voice I'll do, it's kind of, I do it for the Lord of the Rings and more. It's kind of way beyond the shores, we have got men to fight for what is good, fight for Gondor, the evil armies of Sauron. I could go on. I do that all the time. I love that Wim did it. I really, really enjoyed it. So KB, SM33 flying up, like I was talking about before. They want to go see Kim. I like that they tied Kim in. I didn't know if they were going to tie Kim in this season or if there was going to be a second season. I think it sediments for her what it kind of was for the Bad Batch with that Trandoshan scum. I can't even remember her name. I literally just called her. If you watch my Bad Batch videos, I called her Trandoshan scum literally the whole time. I can't remember her name. Put in the comments down below if you know what I'm talking about. But basically, she's going. I think Kim is going to be the new anchor for the kids, and she's going to be the reason why they go do adventures. And it's hey, by the way, Wim could be oh, have you seen any Jedi or anything like this? It's well, there was actually this planet called Tanalorr. I think that's going to be a thing later on. I think that, the kids are going to be the one to find Cal Kestis on Tanalorr. I think that's a really cool way to bring it in. Someone who has been hidden for so long finds a planet that's hidden so long because they're the experts. I mean, I know it sounds so stupid, but they are the experts of this. So, that could be interesting. Don't fucking clip that chat. You can clip it if you want and do that shit. But, I don't know. Don't take it out of context. I don't think it's going to necessarily happen exactly. But I think they would, if there was going to be a way to bring Cal Kestis into the fold of the general galactic conflict, then the kids would be a way because they are experts, and Kim is such a cool thing to be I can get you anywhere in the world. I've got all the charts of everywhere. So if we are going to get that, and if you watch this and you fucking saw that later, it's me. I don't like that. One thing, so Kim mentions that the New Republic was, oh my God, that's crazy. This wind's actually crazy. It's storming badly here. Anyways, so Kim kind of mentioned the New Republic were the best pirate hunters in the galaxy. It really made me think of Mando. Very, very quickly. So in Mando season 3, at the end, he was talking about a pirate who had a bunch of kids in tow. Now, yes, that could be just a mention to Skeleton Crew. It could be a mention to what they're going to do in Skeleton Crew. But I think that is for the general purpose later on. They're bringing in the New Republic. They're mainly the fighters. We weren't even seeing anyone important. Yes, we could have seen Carson Teva, I understand. But, we don't see anyone really important. It's just we get to see the strength of the New Republic, which I'll talk about that. You know what? No, I think that's one of the most important parts of this episode. One of the biggest things is we get to see the strength of the New Republic. I've been so sick of seeing them as just these incompetent bad guys because that's the way people write them. They write them so it's well, if if the bad guys are really good, it means that the good guys must just be bad at what they do. No, it can literally just be that the bad guys are good. I mean, they're good at what they do. They're bad for a reason. They do bad things. And I think what the New Republic are is they're trying to do things in a way that hasn't been done before. They've seen the fall of the Grand Republic, every other republic before them. They want to do something differently. And if that means that they learnt the lessons for the later republic, sure, it's going to get to the point where everything rises and falls. It's the time period in between. I'm just really happy that we got to see it. So if Mando is going to be a part of that force, which I think that's the reason why, like if Mando's going to be a part of that force, they have to be good. You know what I mean? And it's like, like, I don't know. I want to see Mando come back. I want to see him team up with the lads and just kind of become that super awesome bounty hunter dude, but for the good guys this time. So yeah, basically, Kim sends all the coordinates. Well, the KB sends the coordinates to Kim. Kim sends the fighters in. I think what was interesting was that KB going down was really, it was very much the final straw for the kids and for everything really. It's like every bit of conflict, it just ramped up from there. Like KB going down, I like that SM-33 was back, by the way. I really, really liked it. I knew he wasn't dead. You should have seen it in my previous episode. I called it straight away. I barely get stuff wrong with this. But when... same time, I get this wrong. I get it wrong a lot. But I love it so much. I say so much. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I get some wrong, but I get a lot of it right. I do get a lot of it right. I just say so much that I get a lot of wrong as well. So, anyways, later on, we get to see Jod's backstory. You know, he was found by a Jedi. That they killed the Jedi in front of him. We knew that was going to be the case. I literally called that on the fucking time that we saw the B1 battle droid. I actually called that. If you go look at my thing, I just don't even start me. I literally called it. I was like, yeah, he's like, his Jedi was killed and he was thrust into being with the pirates. Someone get me on the writers team. I can't stop myself from being literally the one Star Wars guy that like gets everything right. I actually also when Wim's dad punches, boosh, that was like an Indiana Jones punch. Wim's dad, canonly or canonically. Mental brain fart. In canon. Oh, fuck. Put it down below. I'm a fucking idiot. Put it down below. Seriously. I know someone like Phineas is going to fucking comment down there and be like, brother, it's canonically? I think it might be. Oh my God, I'm actually showing myself. Or even Star Wars Sith, bro. He's always at me in the comments for being an idiot. Anyways, it's the hardest in canon. Leave it at that. So also, kind of to ramp up this conflict, because not a lot happens. I mean, a lot of it is just forcing to pull the barrier down, which they get to. Wim, we get to see that he doesn't have the Force. I'm not upset about that. I'm really, really not upset about that. I think the best thing for us that we get to see with Wim is that it doesn't take the Force to be a Jedi. It's kind of like, yes, we got to see this in Rogue One. It's like, I'm one with the Force, the Force is with me. I'm one with the Force is with me. Like you have to accept being a part of this grand idea of being good, being with the Force, being the scales on the other end of bad, to weigh everything out. I enjoy it. I'm glad that we got to see Wim step up and still be good, but he doesn't need to have the Force. He just went to show that it just takes good intentions, and those good intentions were clearly seen all throughout. And even later on, when Wim even called out to Jod, and he was just like, "Dude, Jod, come on," and Jod's like, "Bye." He kind of accepted himself. He kind of accepted his defeat, which I enjoyed as well. But, okay, obviously, Wim's dad, Wim's mum, it took everything. All of those conflicts kind of reached the peak and then pulled the barrier down. Jod couldn't take all of them. Jod couldn't take the kids, first of all. I mean, like, really, if the kids are really working together, they couldn't take it. Like, he couldn't take them for that long. I mean, he doesn't want to hurt them. You could say that all throughout. Every time even when he shot at Fern and her mum, like, he missed. he's got the Force. You don't miss. You really don't miss. When it comes to blasters, you don't miss when it comes to the Force. So he specifically did that. He specifically didn't kill Wim's dad. I think Jod does have a lot of good in him. But the point is, they destroyed the barrier. I think that was one of the most beautiful things. I was there. I was like, hot. And it was like a blinding white light. Like, we've seen the sun. Fucking sick. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm so glad they did that. I'm very, very, very glad they did that. So, look, barrier removed. Basically, everything kind of ends. The New Republic comes in. We get to see the strength of the boys. We had the Rebels bomber ships with the tri-laser. Loved that. Really cool nods for this whole show. I mean, I think it was a quad laser, actually, because it was from the top as well. But, I love that we're getting nods to literally every single piece of work in all of Star Wars. Just hats off. Hats off to these writers. They've done absolutely fantastically with this. I think the office that the supervisor was in, I think that's going to be Jod's prison in the end. I think if he does turn good and he becomes someone better, which I think he will, I don't want him to, but I think he will. I mean, it's a Disney show. Come on, everyone has to be good in the end, right? So, Jod, when he's going to be good, sure, he'll be out of that. But I think for now, that's going to be his prison. But that one scene where we get to see, oh my God, when we get to see Jod, looking at the window, that's the one thing about the show is how cinematic it was. Hats off to the director. Hats off. If I could take my bandana off right now, I would. I mean, I could, but it's actually pretty tight on my head. I think I did it too tight. This is an AT-AT Hoth battle. Oh, yeah, I know. So, KB, we found out that she's alive, and then, SM-33, Onyx Cinder, they're all alive. Everyone's good. They got all the credits back. Nothing left. The barrier's down. The kids are safe. And Wim looks up into the stars and sees, oh my God, it's the X-Wings. And was that the Tantive 4? I don't know. I think it might have been the Tantive 4. I really hope we don't see some CGI Leia. If we see some CGI Leia, oh my God, I'll accept Admiral Akbar. You know what I mean? I don't want to see Leia CGI. Come on. Let the character go. It was beautiful that we got to have her, but let her go. Come on, don't ruin the story. Don't convolute her. That's not something that she would have done. But yes, Carrie Fisher would most likely have acted in Skeleton Crew because, it's working with kids and she's such a kind and beautiful soul. R.I.P., man. Oh, fuck. Lost a good one. But please don't bring her in. You know what I mean? Please don't bring her in. Look, I do think there's going to be a second season. I think there's going to be, ending off with something like that being like, the ship's okay. The kids are okay. The parents are happy. The New Republic's here. The real good guys are here. I love it. I think it finished off the whole season with such a beautiful, beautiful light. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. I'm so glad that this show has been given to us and just allowed us to kind of not have any bias. I think now, obviously, at the start, everyone's like, oh my God, this show's amazing. And then it drops off, drops off. It's because your expectations are now set. Remember that. Your expectations are now set, and now you have an idea of what it could be, and you kind of, now everything ties in. Oh, it could be Jedi. I was a victim of the same mentality. It could be a Jedi. It could be this. It could be something bigger. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. It was a beautiful, beautiful show. A lot of people didn't like the way this show was edited because it did seem more like a movie. I can respect it. That's your opinion. Everyone deserves their own opinion. But don't tear down the show. Don't tear down the show, which I know the person I'm thinking about right now, they did not tear down the show. But for a lot of people, I've seen Star Wars Theory talking about it being like, what's happened here? Did it stick the landing? Yeah, it did. It was a great show. It was something that we get to see now and we get to enjoy for the rest of our time. It's something that I can't wait to show my partner. I mean, I think it's such a good intro into really focusing on who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And to be able to see the villains from there, being like, to see a Sith after just dealing with only pirates is immense. Immense. Sure, Jod is a bad villain, yeah, but he's nothing. He would get folded by Vader, folded by even Kylo Ren. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. I think this was awesome. I think Jod genuinely looked at the end like he wanted to help the kids, like he wanted to be good. And he kind of gave, I think Jude Law, I mean, hats off to him. His acting was fucking fantastic, and he made this whole show so perfect. I mean, genuinely so perfect. So, like, when he was looking and he goes like, maybe I could be good. That was the face that I got from it. You know what I mean? That was the face. Anyways, look, I'm not going to do a fan segment like I talked about before. I did see online, I checked everywhere. A lot of people were kind of just like, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed this show. I really loved it. A lot of people didn't like that there was no Jedi. They didn't like that Wim wasn't going to be a Jedi. They didn't like that Tak Renard wasn't really a playoff, which I can understand, but I'm kind of like, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? It's a show. Who cares? Like, just enjoy it. Genuinely enjoy it, and I did enjoy it. Thank you so much for everyone in this whole process to give me so much love. I mean, well, I think it was like episode 7 or 8, maybe something like that. That was like, I had so much watch hours. I think it was like 75 watch hours. Insane for a half an hour video. Like, actually insane. I love you all. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everyone who's been following along in this journey. Star Wars Sith 66, Star Wars Nerd 00. We've got Phineas McCormick, mate. I love you, bro. You're so good, dude. By the way, no one has to comment every week. You don't have to watch my videos every week. Don't worry about it. If I do a video that you don't want to watch, don't feel pressured to do it. Don't feel pressured to enjoy it or watch it or even hate on it. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm glad to see regular faces and even new faces. I've seen so many new people who comment down and in the comment section, and just, it gives me a lot of love. I mean, I appreciate it. Even hate. I get a lot of hate as well, but like, I appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. I enjoy talking every single week with all of you. So chuck us a comment down below if you feel like it. And I love you all. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Next week is the first week without Skeleton Crew. So we're going to be doing something big. I've got something pretty cool that I picked up from a secondhand store. So, well, Vinny's here. But, like, you know, I picked up something. It was a book. It was a Star Wars book. And I'm going to go through it. It's going to be pretty interesting. I'm genuinely keen. It's not one of those, like, actually reading books because, like, God, I struggle reading. But that's going to come out as well. I'm going to be doing a Bloore Mandalore very soon. I've just been so busy. Very, very busy. I'm looking at it right now. That's why I'm looking off the screen. It's, you know, it's a big Star Wars. It's a picture book. It's a picture book. Retailed at like $150, and I just got it for $20. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Okay, fine, I will. It's the Star Wars blueprints. Oh, it's so cool. It's literally got a broken down piece of every single part of every single like set, structure, everything, like ship, all of it. It's actually really, really cool. So I'm going to be doing that, and also a little bit of a sneak peek for the people that you know are around. I've been designing my own. This is obviously, I think a lot of people have probably clicked off by this point. But you know, this is for the people who stay around. You get to see what potentially could be. I have been working on a new logo. So I've been kind of like designing different colors and so on. And you know, I think it's kind of cool. I mean, like, whoa, you can't really see it. Anyways, it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. I'm really, really keen for it. Genuinely, really, really keen for it. It's going to be cool. And it just means that I can, like, that one is going to be, like, good for merch and all that kind of shit. So if you watch this far, I love you, man. If you have, what could you say this week? Mando's maniacal nutsack. I'm going to get flagged for that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Seriously, don't. Just do Mandalorian. Mandalorian is sick, because that's what, you know, all the fans, I call you guys the Mandalorians. All right, the Mandalorians, all in power. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao, motherfuckers.